Hello and welcome in 10, The Lost Colony of Roanoke. This story has been passed down for centuries, and it still chills the bones of those who hear it. In 1585, Queen Elizabeth I of England gave a group of businessmen permission to establish a colony on the North American mainland. 2 years later, over 100 men, women, and children landed on Roanoke Island, part of present-day Virginia. They settled in and began building houses, farms, and a fort, but within a few months, they were gone. The entire colony had vanished without a trace. And all that was left behind was a single post with the word CROATOAN carved into it. But why did they carve this strange word? What happened to these people? There are many theories about what may have happened to them. Some say they moved to another island. Others say they were killed by Native Americans or that they intermixed with the local population. Still, others believe that they were victims of disease or simply walked away from their settlement, not knowing where they would go. Whatever the case, it's clear that something strange and terrifying happened on Roanoke Island. Number 9. The mystery deepens. As soon as the colonists were gone, people began wondering what had happened to them. A search party was sent out, but they found nothing. Over the years, several other expeditions were launched to try and find the lost colony, but none were successful. The mystery of Roanoke became one of the most enduring in American history. In the 16th century, the English colony of Roanoke was an ambitious project. The first attempt at permanent English colonization in North America, it was established in 1585 on the island of Roanoke, off the coast of present-day North Carolina. The colony was part of a larger effort by England to compete with Spain for control of the New World. Despite its noble goals, the Roanoke colony was doomed to fail. In fact, it disappeared completely within just 3 years. By 1587, the entire colony of about 120 people had vanished. All that remained was the word CROATOAN carved into a post, offering no explanation for their sudden disappearance. Was it a message left behind by the colonists or a clue to their fate? Or was it nothing more than a red herring designed to mislead any who found it? The mystery of the missing colonists has fascinated historians for centuries. What happened to the people of Roanoke? Did they simply abandon their colony? Or were they taken captive by Native Americans? And what is the meaning of the cryptic message they left behind? These questions have been debated by historians for centuries. Number 8. Theories abound. There are many theories as to what happened to the Roanoke colonists. One popular theory is that they were all killed by Native Americans. This theory is supported by the fact that there is no evidence of a struggle at the settlement and that the colonists were never heard from again. However, there is also no physical evidence to support this claim, such as bones or artifacts. Additionally, there were several Native American tribes in the area at the time, and it's unclear which tribe would have been responsible for the attack. Another theory is that the colonists intermixed with the local population and simply moved away. This theory is supported by the fact that the word CROATOAN is a Native American word meaning friend. However, this theory does not explain why the colonists would have abandoned their settlement, or why they would have changed their names. Additionally, there is no physical evidence to support this claim either. Perhaps the most intriguing theory is that the colonists were victims of disease. This theory is supported by the fact that there is no evidence of a struggle at the settlement, and that the colonists were never heard from again. Additionally, there are several diseases that are common in the area that could have wiped out the entire colony. Number 7. Sir Francis Drake. Sir Francis Drake was an English explorer and privateer who played a significant role in the defeat of the Spanish Armada in 1588. He was also a close friend of Sir Walter Raleigh, the man who sponsored the Roanoke colony. Drake visited the colony in 1586 and reported that it was doing well. However, he also noted that the colonists were low on supplies and that they needed more help from England. Unfortunately, the English government was reluctant to provide more resources to the colony, and as a result, the colonists were left to fend for themselves. When Drake returned to Roanoke in 1587, he found that the colony had been abandoned and the colonists had vanished without a trace. He carved the word CROATOAN into a post as a message to whoever found it, but nobody knows for sure what it meant. Some believe that it was the name of a Native American tribe in the area, while others believe that it was a clue to the colonists' whereabouts. Whatever the case, the mystery of the Roanoke colony remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in American history. Number 6. John White. John White was the governor of the Roanoke colony from 1585 to 1590. He was a member of the English explorer Sir Francis Drake's crew and was present at the founding of the colony in 1585. White returned to England in 1586 to seek supplies for the colony. However, he was delayed due to the Anglo-Spanish War and was unable to return to Roanoke until 1590. When he arrived, he found that the colony had been abandoned and the colonists had vanished. White explored the area and found no evidence of a struggle or foul play. The only clue to the colonists' whereabouts was the word CROATOAN carved into a post. White returned to England with no answers, and the mystery of the Roanoke colony has endured for centuries. Number 5. The CROATOAN Indians. The CROATOAN Indians were a Native American tribe who lived on the outer banks of North Carolina in the 16th century. The tribe's name is believed to have derived from the word CROATOAN, which means friend or ally in the Algonquian language. The CROATOAN Indians were known to be friendly with the English colonists who settled in the area in the late 1500s. In fact, there is some evidence to suggest that some members of the CROATOAN tribe assisted the colonists in their settlement efforts. However, as the years went on, the relationship between the two groups became more strained, and there were reports of violence and conflict between them. The CROATOAN tribe was eventually wiped out by European diseases and warfare with other tribes. Number 4. Disease theory. The most popular theory to explain the disappearance of the Roanoke colonists is that they succumbed to disease. This theory is supported by the fact that the colonists were in a remote and isolated location with limited access to medical care. Additionally, the colonists were exposed to new and deadly diseases brought over from Europe. Smallpox, for example, was a highly contagious and deadly disease that devastated Native American populations who had no immunity against it. It's possible that the Roanoke colonists were infected with smallpox or another deadly disease, and that this led to the demise of the entire colony. No. 3. Attacked and absorbed. The idea that the Roanoke colonists were attacked and absorbed by the Native Americans is another popular theory. This theory is supported by the fact that there were several Native American tribes in the area at the time, and that the colonists were in hostile territory. Additionally, there is some evidence to suggest that the Native Americans in the area were hostile towards the colonists, and there were reports of attacks and killings. However, this theory is not widely accepted as there is no physical evidence to support it, such as bones or artifacts. Number 2. Lost at sea. Another possibility is that the colonists were lost at sea. The Roanoke colony was located on an island off the coast of present-day North Carolina, and the colonists were engaged in trade and exploration along the coast. It's possible that a ship carrying colonists was lost at sea, and that this led to the demise of the colony. However, this theory is not widely accepted as there is no physical evidence to support it, and the colonists would have likely left behind some sort of record if they had been lost at sea. Number 1. They walked away. Perhaps the most intriguing theory is that the colonists simply walked away from their settlement. This theory is supported by the fact that there is no evidence of a struggle at the settlement, and that the colonists were never heard from again. Additionally, there is some evidence to suggest that the colonists were struggling, and that they may have decided to abandon their settlement and move elsewhere. However, this theory is not widely accepted as it's unclear where the colonists would have gone and why they would have left behind their belongings. Thanks for watching. Which of these theories do you think explains the disappearance of the Roanoke colonists? Let me know your thoughts. See you next time.